Our guest today is the Sizzlebike folding S200 fat tire e-bike. And you know what's funny is I'd never heard of Sizzlebike before this, but looking at this thing and riding it just over here, it's really made me stop in my tracks. I mean, look at it. The white paint, the really good looking lines, and the aesthetic that is just really looks way more premium than what you would expect from an unfamiliar brand. And then when you dig into the numbers, a claimed 23 mile an hour top speed, we're going to check that out here in a second, up to 55 miles of range, 70 Newton meters of torque, which should be enough to handle just about anything. It even has these really nice up-spec hydraulic brakes, which is something you don't usually see at this price point. And did I mention how good this thing looks? I mean, seriously, this is not your average folding commuter bike. Now, we're going to talk more about how this thing rides and those fat tires here in a second. So let's get to the fun part. Let's go for a ride. And now, what is it like to ride the Sizzlebk S200? And, you know, I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at the price point and all the specs, I thought this was going to be kind of a cheaper bike, but riding it, it certainly doesn't feel that way. It feels pretty high quality. And, you know, these folding e-bikes sometimes can have little bits of wiggle here and there, especially in the steering stem. And I'm delighted to report right off the bat, there's no wiggle in the steering. It feels really, really good. So, I mean, right there, we're off to a good start, aren't we, on this? We're into fall now. It's September. The leaves are starting to turn color as we head into our high-speed downhill test, top gear, top power mode, into our 11% grade downhill test. Let's see what it's got. Full throttle. And we're up to 23, 24, 26, indicated 27, 28, 29, 30 indicated. 31, 32, we're hovering between 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 is still going. Well, did you look at that? 36 miles an hour on a 20 by 4 inch, that's a small tire, e-bike. I'm way out of gears. Pedaling makes no difference at this point. But let's see what it does through our S-curve. This thing has these hydraulic brakes, a brand I've never heard of before. Let's see how they do. And they feel pretty great. Nice and powerful. Good precision there. Through it again. Oh, yeah. And this thing handles really well. Yeah, the brakes are absolutely fantastic. What are they called again? I can't even read them. All right, so back up to speed through our nice little straightaway through the trees before we head up through the twisty bits, do our performance testing on the S200. And full throttle is slowed right back down to 14 miles an hour. I'm pedaling and giving it full throttle. We're only going 13 miles an hour. Huh. So, yeah, you know, it has a 1,000 watt peak, 750 watt nominal motor. Oh, but now we're back up to speed. Here we are, 17 miles an hour. Go to a higher gear, 18 miles an hour, 19 as we hit. So it feels like the motor cuts out at about 21 miles an hour. So that's roughly the speed I think we can expect for this thing outside of, you know, our silly high-speed downhill test. But 20 miles an hour through our nice twisty, turny park. And yeah, this bike feels really good. Really, really good. I like it. Yeah, really stable. Yeah, a lot of these folding e-bikes don't really exude the stability like the Sizzlebk. All right, time for our 11% uphill test. I'm already at full throttle. It says we're doing 30, 27. I'm gonna try pedaling. We're getting a little blue flicker when the power kicks in. So the power kicks in at about 20 miles an hour. Now it's giving me power. And we're slowing right on down to 13. I'm gonna have to pedal a little bit. 11, 11 miles an hour up the 11% grade. 11, 11, oh, 9. 9. So this is not 10. So 9 miles an hour. This is not a powerhouse of a bike. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It really all depends on the kind of bike you're looking for. This isn't a rompin' stompin' monster. This bike is a little bit more honest. A lot of these things, they have the class 2 stickers on them when they clearly are class 3, or, you go into the secret menu and you can bump them up into whatever speed they're capable of going. This one is sticking to the legal classifications. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, 20 miles an hour down the hill. We got a pretty decent headwind today. The camera up a little bit. All right, let's go through the switchgear really quick before we head through it. It's set up like an American bicycle. This is our rear brake over here. This is our front brake. We have our throttle, and we've seen this pod before, and I really, really, really like this pod. I like having the computer and all the buttons together, and I think that's really nice. It's really elegant. It's less to mess with. But as we head into our tunnel, this bike is missing something. Can you guess what it is before we head into the tunnel? Yeah, that's right. There's no horn. This is one of the few e-bikes we've ever tested where there isn't a horn. So yeah, you just get to see what the gauge looks like. Looks nice. So that is definitely something we would want to add to this. I would add like a big giant jingle jangle bell, the big round ones with the button. I like those. Testing all these bikes, for whatever reason, those analog old school bells, they disarm people, so they don't get grumpy with you for passing or coming up behind them and spooking them. They hear that little jingle jangle bicycle bell, and they're usually pretty quick to apologize. As opposed to the digital bell, sometimes people get a little bit startled by that. So yeah, there you go, no bell. We talked a lot about that. And yeah, we're still going 26 miles an hour, according to the GPS, see what that's telling us. And feels good. I like it. Nice and stable. This is a really, really comfortable bike to ride. It's definitely on the smaller side, but maybe you are too. The website says this will fit someone from 4'11" on up. Now, a lot of these e-bikes that I test, I'm being honest with you here, they're pretty big. You have to be almost 5.5 feet tall before you can really ride them. This thing's great that it is, smaller person friendly, or a kid, or you want to get it for someone that they can grow into. This bike will totally do that. And that's kind of nice. Through our S curves, and fall is like my favorite time of year. It's not like my favorite time. It is my favorite time of year. The temperatures are down, and there's no better way to get out and about than on an e-bike. I was talking to someone yesterday. He had heart surgery several years ago, but he still wants to get out and about and do things. And he found e-bikes and fell in love with e-bikes. And this is what him and his wife do. They ride e-bikes all over the place. And how amazing is that, right? You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to put on the little uniform. You just get on your little e-bike, go for a ride. Let's see how fast it goes in each of the power modes. So we're gonna go back down to power mode 1. Power mode 1, up we go. I'm gonna guess 8 or 9 miles an hour. Oh, yep, 8. All right, power mode 2, and 12 miles an hour. Power mode 3, and 14 miles an hour in power mode 3. Power mode 4, I guess we're gonna go to 16, 17. And then power mode 5, we know it'll take us up to 20. 18, 19, and now we got a hill in front of us, 19. Yeah, so 20 miles an hour in each of the power modes. That is very sane and very reasonable. And that's really what most of these e-bikes should be doing. Across the street, nope, we don't get run over. Into Sugar House Park. Lovely fall day. The leaves down here aren't really turning color yet, but they are up on the mountain. Doesn't it make you want to get on an e-bike and go for a ride on some nice wooded bike path and look at the leaves for fall? Right? Now's such a good time to be out on a bicycle. And look at the park today. We got kids playing soccer. Man, this is just fantastic. 21 miles an hour. I'm not pedaling. I'm just enjoying myself. This is like the perfect day. This is gorgeous. I love everything about it. Yeah, just lovely. Front suspension only. 80 mils of travel, 80 millimeters of travel on the front fork. I think that's plenty for a bike like this. No rear suspension. It's not super complicated, but that's the advantage of the fat tires, right? This has the 20-inch by 4 fat tires. I run them about 15 to 20 PSI, and that makes them pretty soft. So let's do our single track test. Preemptively on our single track, and yeah, it's doing great. Really good. This bike is really, really stable. I keep mentioning that. A lot of these folding e-bikes have a lot of play in either the frame where the hinge is or in the handlebars where the handlebar folds down. This doesn't seem to have that. Like, look how good it's doing on the single track. That is absolutely impressive. Well done, S200. You are proving to be a little bit of a shining star. Totally impressed with you. See, look at all the other people out there on their e-bikes riding around. He was on an analog bike. That's a rarity these days. Another e-bike. Got his phone on his handlebars, listening to his podcast. Just enjoying life, man. This makes you feel good doing this. I'm in a good mood. Can you tell? And it's hard not to be in a good mood when you're riding a bicycle. Oh, it's fantastic. Love it. Love it. Are we ready for our laps? Yeah, man, through that turn, the bike it's just a stable bike. It has the right geometry. You know, some of these e-bike companies, they don't quite get the geometry right. They can be either they'll turn a little slow or they'll turn a little quick. This thing got the geometry spot on. This thing is spot on, near perfect for its handling. Man, we got a lot going on in the park. I'm not the only one who wanted to go for a ride today. Oh, look at that. Everyone's being polite. Man, just gotta love it. We're still in Power Mode 5, doing our lap. Hopefully you can see Mount Olympus up there in all of her glory. We got pretty lights hitting. It's really nice on this early afternoon. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Let's talk about the seat. The seat's pretty comfortable. Yeah, it's a little on the wide side. It's a little bit more for sitting, a little less for pedaling really hard, but I think that's also what this bike is for. It has the fenders front and rear, so you don't have to worry about it. If you hit a puddle or a little bit of a splash, it's not going to get you all dirty. And I was really happy about this. It comes with the rear rack. And it's actually a really nice rear rack. The design of it's really good. It's about the right size. You can strap your bag to it. This is a really, really thought out bike. Since I'm just in such a good mood, I'm just going to gush on the paint job and the aesthetics. I think the white paint job and the subtle graphics, the little hash marks that make the letter S for Sizzlebike, the coloring of the S200 on the logo on the rear triangle, just looks classy. It's you know, some of these e-bikes, their graphics are a little hit or miss, and sometimes they're a little spacey or whatever. This one, it looks really good. It looks really professional. I'm into it. I think you can tell I like this bike. I really do. You know, but it does have a few shortcomings, right? It doesn't have a brake light on it. It just has a reflector. It does have a headlight. Does not have turn signals. And does not have a bell. So, you know, but also the price point on it. I think I mentioned that right off the bat. Based on the price of this thing, I thought it was going to be a cheap bike. But riding it, it feels more like they focused on the things that actually matter, right? The hydraulic brakes on this thing are some of the best hydraulic brakes I've ever used. It's not a Shimano derailleur, but it shifts really well. It does have the thumb forefinger trigger shifter, which is better. You know, the ones that have the big shift pod up here. I mean, it's nice, it tells you what gear you're in, but in practice, this one with the thumb forefinger shifter, it just works better. Getting our turns in. Lots of people out jogging. I'm not jogging. I'm riding my bike. Have you ever noticed that people, when they're running, they're never smiling? What does that tell you about running? I don't know. I don't want to say too much. But when people are riding their bicycle, you see lots of big smiles. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I dragged the pedal through that corner. So that's something to be aware of. Man, lovely, lovely afternoon. No complaints. You know, fall is bittersweet, right? You're so happy to be past the heat of summer, but you know winter is coming. So you just got to enjoy it. You got to get out. You got to enjoy every day. You can't let a fall day go to waste. So yeah, 19 miles an hour. I'm pedaling. I'm not really working, but I'm going 20 miles an hour. So we roll down the hill. Jumps up to 26 miles an hour, 28, 29. And it rolls nice. Like, not pedaling, no motor. It's maintaining its speed really well. Yeah. This is a solid bike, I gotta say. And it looks good, fun to ride. All right, let's head into our adventure portion of the ride. I'm already worried about how it's gonna do getting up our grassy knoll, seeing as how it struggled with our 11% grade up the hill. So I stand up on the pedals. We head into the grass. Woohoo! Yeah, again, the front suspension is really great. It's well damped. It's not overly springy. It feels very planted and compliant. Oh, and they're done with the construction. Well, this is nice. Brand new pavilion. If you're a subscriber of the channel, you'll have seen that take place being built over the course of the summer. And this guy, people always park on the ramp to make it. All right, we have to find another way to get onto the grassy knoll. All right, here we go. We have to take an alternate path up the grassy knoll. Let's get up to speed. I'm on the foot peg pedaling it. Yeah, it's not going to make it up the grassy knoll. So I have to go into a lighter gear and give it a hand. 6, going 5 miles an hour. All right, it made it with a little bit of help. There you go. So yeah, it wasn't the fastest thing up the grassy knoll, but we also knew it wasn't going to be. And that's not what this bike is trying to be. You know, I was talking to another friend just the other day, and we were talking about, you know, how do you really rate if a product is good or bad? And I always lean towards, is the product honest to what it's trying to be? Right? You wouldn't look at a Ferrari and be like, oh, Ferrari's crap because it has a terrible towing capacity and I can't haul sheetrock with it, right? It's two completely different things. And I think for what this bike is trying to be, I'm wholly satisfied with the power, the performance, all the things about it. So I do think it is time that we put the park in our rearview mirror and head back up the hill. If you're liking this video, I sure would appreciate it if you would consider clicking on like, and more than anything, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I take every penny this channel brings in and I put it back into the channel because I just love e-bikes. But I think the hardest part about e-bikes is knowing what brands are good and which ones are less good and how do you choose, right? And that's the goal of this whole channel. Like even this Sizzlebike. Who knew this thing was going to be as good as it was? So yeah, once we get to 1,000 subscribers, that puts us into the monetization zone. That helps me make a little bit more money that I can hopefully review more bikes, right? Because some of these companies send to me, some of them I buy on my own. And that's just because I really love e-bikes and I've just seen how they really help so many people. Like the gentleman I met last night who had heart surgery and e-bikes have helped him find like fun and recreation again. And what's not to love about that? But unfortunately, we are now to the part of the video where we have to talk about what maybe we don't like about the Sizzlebike S200 e-bike, because there is no such thing as a perfect product. And as much as I'm really liking this thing, there are some things about it that it is lacking. And one, and this is a weird one, the kickstand is too long. I reviewed a bike earlier this week where the kickstand was too short, and so the bike always felt like it was going to fall over. This one has the exact opposite problem. the kickstand's too long, and so it feels like it's always going to fall over. So I know that's a silly thing. There might be an easy solution for it, but there we are. We try to be as honest and as unbiased as we can be. What else don't I like about it? The headlight's kind of small and dinky. It'd be nice if it had a bigger headlight, but I think that's an easy fix. You can just buy that bigger headlight and plug it in. That's not a big deal. The angle of the handlebars is a little extreme. Like if you look at it, it's just arrow straight here. There's no sweep back or bend or kink, and it's a little awkward on my hands. And then by the nature of it being a folding e-bike, the handlebars are a little narrower, so it's more compact. It's easier to, store in the corner or put in the back of your car or whatever. But that does sometimes affect the handling. And because it's this modular thing and it's keyed specifically for this bike, for the holding nature of it, holy cow, it's not like it'd be an easy thing to replace. I think this design and the way it's all welded into one big piece like this is part of why it's so stable, especially for a folding e-bike, but I guess that's the cost. So now on to surface streets, where I think it's fair to say this bike will spend a fair bit of its life. How does it do on surface streets? That's just fine. We're going uphill. It's going 19 miles an hour. It's doing great. And that leads us into, who do I think this bike is for? And I think this bike has some pretty broad appeal. No, it is not the powerhouse like some of the other ones that we test. But this thing would make a phenomenal commuter because it's small, because it's foldable. If you live in an apartment and you don't want to commute in your car, like return to office seems to be all the rage right now. And you don't have to register this. You don't have to pay taxes. If I were to go park downtown for work, it's $150 a month now for parking spaces, but there's a bike rack in the basement of the building, so you could park for free, and gas costs nothing. It has a 50-mile range, which isn't the longest range, but what a lot of people don't realize is you're always leaving your house with a full tank of gas. And I mean, if you're commuting 50 miles to work on an e-bike, good for you. And charge time, it takes 5 hours to go from flat to a full charge. So even if you had to, you could charge it over the course of the day and ride home if you had a 100-mile bicycle commute on an e-bike. Also, I think by the very nature, the size of this, it's really going to appeal to someone who's a little physically smaller. And by it not being a powerhouse, by it being kind of tamer with the throttle response and not so maniacal fast with the top speed, when you're smaller in stature, that less intimidating nature makes it more fun to ride. It makes it just really more pleasant, right? So yeah, so who else? I think if someone is still growing and they want a bike to get to and fro school that they can grow into, this would be great. You could buy it now for middle school through high school and even into college because of how adjustable it is. You can change the height of the handlebars, you can change the seat height, you can change all the things, and it'll grow with you. And for a school commuter, this thing would be phenomenal. You put your book bag on the back rack and away you go. And yeah, this thing just has so many practical applications. By it being foldable, you live in an apartment, you can stick it in a corner, or maybe you're a pensioner and you vacation a lot and you have an RV, you can fold this and stick it places where it's out of the way, and it makes it just a lot easier to live with. So yeah, buzzing up the hill. How great is this thing? E-bikes are amazing. Man, is it a beautiful afternoon. Just fantastic. These things really are just so much fun to ride. What else is there to say about the Sizzlebike S200? I feel like we've covered everything. I'm trying to come up with something else to talk about it. I'm mostly just having a lot of fun riding the thing. It's easy to operate, intuitive, everything works. This thing was a sleeper. I didn't know what to think of it. I think this thing is phenomenal. This is really just an outstanding bike, especially for the price. Okay then, I think it's time we wrap this review up and go over some final thoughts. What do you say? So what are my final thoughts on the Sizzlebike S200 electric bicycle? I think it's pretty obvious to tell. I like this thing. I'm a fan of it. There's just so much about this bike that I think they got right. Not least of which is just how good looking it is. I mean, like the graphics on the rear triangle, they look so sharp. Like it looks very modern. Good looking bike. I think it's an exceptional value. Now, Sizzlebike did send this one to me, which means I have a coupon code for you. I'm going to put it right up here in the trees. So if you're considering this bike, then I think you should. This thing really is an exceptional value. I think you should check it out. Consider using my affiliate link, or I'm going to put a QR code in the corner. If you're watching this on your TV at home, you can just scan it with your phone. It'll take you right to the website. You can use my coupon code. Costs you nothing extra, helps me out. And you'll always get the best price available at the time. That's the other great thing about these coupon codes. You always get whatever the deal is, and the deals are always changing. So yeah, the Sizzlebike S200. I love it. I think it's a great bike. Check it out. Thank you so much for riding with me today on this beautiful fall afternoon. And we'll see you next time. Click like and subscribe. Cheers.